I didn't think a crushed golf cart would be the thing that finally shut my HOA up, but there it was, lying on its side in the dirt-twisted metal glinting in the sun, while a 1,200-pound bull stood over it like a judge delivering a verdict. A few hours earlier, that same cart had been blocking my barn, and the HOA president's son had been smiling at me like he owned my land. That morning taught everyone involved a lesson no warning letter ever could. It started like any other day on my farm. Early. Quiet. The kind of quiet you only get before the world wakes up, when it's just you, the animals, and the routines you've built your life around. I've been working this land most of my adult life, and before me my father did, and before him my grandfather. This place isn't a hobby. It isn't some rustic aesthetic I trot out for Instagram. It's how I make a living. It's how I feed animals that depend on me every single day. No excuses. The barn sits a short distance from the house, just far enough that you can smell the hay and hear the horses before you see it. That morning I was hauling feed like I always do, tractor rumbling, low trailer stacked high with bags that had to be unloaded before the horses got too restless. As I rounded the corner, I slammed on the brakes so hard my chest lurched forward. A golf cart was parked sideways, dead center, blocking every inch of the barn doors. Not partially, not accidentally, perfectly placed like someone had measured it. The horses inside reared and stamped hooves hitting wood, the sound sharp and anxious. Feed bags shifted on the trailer. And there he was, Bradley Collins, sunglasses on, one arm draped lazily over the steering wheel, drink in hand, smiling like he was waiting for applause. "Move it!" I shouted, my heart already pounding harder than it should have. "Move it now!" He didn't even look surprised. He took another sip, leaned back, and said, "Relax. You'll see why in a second." That's when I noticed Margaret Collins standing a few steps behind him, the HOA president, arms crossed, that familiar tight smile she always wore when she thought she had the upper hand. She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. Her presence said everything. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't her son being stupid on his own. This was sanctioned. The barn isn't just a building, it's where my horses eat, where my equipment is stored, where my work actually happens. Blocking it isn't annoying. It's dangerous. It delays care. It stresses animals. It costs money. And Bradley knew that. "You're really going to make a fuss over this," he said, voice dripping with amusement. "Some of us are trying to live a civilized life." I felt something cold settle in my chest. That word civilized, like my work, my land, my family's sweat, somehow made me less than him. "Get it out of my way," I said again, slower this time, forcing my voice to stay even. He swung one leg over the side of the cart. "Maybe the farm smells should stay on your side," he said. "You ever think about that?" Behind him, Margaret watched, silent, approving. This wasn't the first time the HOA had complained. Noise, smell, dust, roosters too early, horses too loud. It was always something. But this was different. This wasn't paperwork or passive-aggressive emails. This was physical, deliberate, a challenge. I tried to reason with him. Told him the barn was private property. Told him he was trespassing. Told him animals needed to be fed. He laughed, actually laughed, pulled his phone out and started recording me. "The HOA says you're technically fine," he said, waving a hand. "But we kind of own the moral high ground here." That's when the anger really started to boil. Not explode, boil. The slow kind that makes your hands shake if you don't keep them busy. I looked past him toward the pen where Duke was pacing. Duke isn't just any bull. He's massive, calm when he needs to be dangerous when provoked. He lifted his head, snorted once low and deep, like he could feel the tension vibrating through the yard. By mid-morning, the cart still hadn't moved. Every attempt to unload feed had turned into a logistical nightmare. Horses were restless. One wrong move and a bag could spill, or worse, someone could get hurt. Bradley lounged there like he was tailgating, making comments, filming, enjoying every second of it. Margaret never left his side. And that's when doubt started creeping in. That quiet, ugly voice in the back of my head. The one that asks if you're the problem. If maybe you should just give in. If fighting the HOA is worth it. I've seen what they can do to people. Fines, threats, legal letters, endless stress. For a moment, standing there watching my animals suffer while two people smirked at me, I wondered if I should just back down, park somewhere else, change routines, keep my head down. That thought made me feel sick. This land was here before the HOA, before their bylaws, before their power games, and yet here I was feeling small on my own property. That was my lowest point, right there. Not when the cart was blocking the barn, but when I almost convinced myself I deserved it. Then I heard tires crunching on gravel. Sheriff Dawson pulled up his cruiser, idling quietly near the gate. He'd known my father, knew this land, knew exactly what kind of nonsense he was walking into. "What's going on here?" he asked. Bradley straightened immediately. The smirk wavered. I explained, calmly, clearly, private property, obstructed access, livestock care disrupted. Dawson raised an eyebrow and looked at the cart. "Looks like trespassing to me." Margaret's expression tightened. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Bradley waved a hand. "We're just making a point." Dawson didn't smile. Points don't override property lines. That's when I felt it. That shift. The moment where I stopped questioning myself. The moment I remembered I wasn't wrong. I looked at Duke again. He pawed the ground, once muscles rippling under his hide, eyes locked on the cart like it didn't belong there because it didn't. I walked toward the side gate, unlocked it, swung it open. "Move the cart," I said quietly. No yelling, no anger, just fact. Bradley laughed nervously. "He's not going to do anything." Duke snorted. The sound rolled through the yard deep enough to feel in your bones. He lowered his head, took a few deliberate steps forward. Bradley's laughter stopped. Everything happened fast after that, but somehow it also felt slow. Duke surged forward, unstoppable. The cart rocked, wheels spinning uselessly. Metal bent with a sickening crunch. The entire thing tipped and slammed onto its side. Bradley screamed and scrambled backward, flip-flops slipping on gravel, phone flying out of his hand. Drinks spilled, papers scattered. Silence followed. Duke stopped, calm, towering over the wreckage like it had never been a challenge at all. Margaret took a step back. The color drained from her face. All that confidence, all that quiet authority gone. Sheriff Dawson exhaled slowly. "I suggest you both remember whose land this is." Later that day at the HOA meeting, there was no laughter, no smirks. I brought the footage, the timestamps, the video of the cart blocking the barn, Bradley taunting me, Margaret standing there approving. The room shifted as neighbors watched. Gasps, whispers, phones lowered. For the first time, the HOA president didn't control the narrative. Bradley stared at the floor. Margaret tried to speak, but the words fell flat. The sheriff issued a formal warning. Trespassing, interference, no more games. When it was over, I didn't feel victorious. I felt steady, grounded, like the land had settled back into its rightful place. Back at the farm, the barn doors were open. The horses were calm. Duke nudged his feed bucket like nothing unusual had happened. And as I stood there looking at the overturned golf cart one last time, I realized something simple. Power only works as long as people believe in it, and respect is not optional, no matter what your HOA bylaws say.